Hello, I'm Mrs. Retro, the wife.
Hello, I'm Kat, Retro's favourite neighbour.
Hello, I'm Scott. I'm actually Retro's favourite neighbour.
Hello, I'm Thomas, Retro's actual favourite neighbour.
Hello, I'm Sophie, Retro's favourite person in the whole wide world, and I like panda corns.
So I responded to my command mode survey and got a bit frustrated that you could only really surmise it in one word, which wasn't enough, so I wrote a little letter. I do not like to be negative or salty in this channel, and in fact, in the past, if I've made slightly negative videos, they've always tended to do really, really well. And that is not an excuse to make them, and I've never made them since. I enjoy this game and I like to remain positive about it, but I am still slightly concerned about the direction it's taking, which is why I made the video and put that letter at the end. And little did I know how much or how many of you also felt the same. 65% of you watch my videos on mobile phones and consoles, which means you're pretty much nearly all watching it through an app, which means you can't leave comments from a console. 15% of you leave comments on the videos, which is brilliant, and I really enjoy reading those. Thank you very, very much. And about 12% of you take the time out to give a like to the video as well, which is always appreciated. But I did think, if 65% of you are watching my videos through an app, then you don't always get to see the comments below. And I thought you might be interested in what my subscribers also said about the way this game is going. Savage Gerbil said, I agree fully with Jeff Dave. His comment will come later. Spot on, Retro. When the first Franken-tanks made their entrance some time ago, I expressed my displeasure and about them not having any base in reality. I was shouted down on many different YouTube sites and called an old fuddy-duddy, or much worse. Well, it looks as if Wargaming is going to go for the whole enchilada with the Merc thing. I have not played World of Tanks for the last few weeks, but have stayed current with the happenings and YouTube input. World of Tanks is going to lose a big chunk of their player base if they pursue this direction of Franken-tanks and mercenaries. I will not throw in the towel completely for a few more weeks, but if Wargaming is so stubborn as to not admit they have made a mistake and pursue this line and create a new genre, actually, well, it will be adios, mi amigo.
Eric Davis said, whoever's in charge of all these latest additions to the game needs to swallow their pride and put someone else into bat. I've been director of ops in 2 big companies and watched them plummet when owners and general managers get greedy and disregard the bread and butter and try and add senseless frills to the mix, kills employee spirit and customer base.
Ian Stevenson said, totally agree. I've been playing the game for little more than a year, so still relatively new, and I've barely scratched the surface of the tech tree tanks, so there is still so much for me to do. This Commander game seems interesting, but just like you, I'm a little bit time poor, and all I could think of was that my game time would be better spent grinding for my next tank or earning op points, etc. The same kind of goes for the Merc tanks. I do like the look of the Stinger though, it's my sort of tank. Not sure I've got the time to spare. In the last year I've spent a little bit of cash in this game, premium time, premium tanks, etc. And now I'm kind of thinking, should I stop spending any more money here in case the game kind of peters out over the next year?
To quote Dave, 3 marks of excellence for a good video, and I think it's obvious from all the comments that we echo your thoughts. Not missing World of Tanks, not bothered if I win or lose or even play, given up on better matchmaking, acceptance that Russian tank bias exists, RNG well enough said, graphics no longer jaw-dropping. Are Wargaming bothered? No, not really. Do Wargaming listen? Sometimes. Only Wargaming knows what direction they are going to take, but they run the risk of leaving a once solid player base in their wake.
Zaboy11 said, spot on Mr. Retro, I've pretty much quit the game on PS4 because Merc tanks and the bad 4.6, not forgetting the swarms of light tanks everywhere. I love this game, waited ages hoping it would come to console after trying it on a friend's PC years ago. It's a shame what war games have done for the game. They just don't listen to anything. I think the game will be gone in a year.
Jim Whitfield said, "Spot on as ever, RJ. I'm having a break from World of Tanks at the moment as I have kind of fallen out of love with it and just find myself getting very frustrated with the monetization of it. Very difficult to fulfill the Merc contract if you have a job and a life. Hats off to those who can do it without spending gold on it. Just don't enjoy it at the moment. Keep up the good work, mate."
Herd of Donkeys said, "Good words, Retro. Couldn't have said it any better, and I hope Wargaming will take your comments to heart."
Ricky Tiki Tavi, my PlayStation representative, said, "Well said, Retro. Couldn't agree with you more. I played the Commander mode once, and the only reason I did that was to earn the points associated with the Commander mode op. Wargaming needs to stop introducing feeble money-making schemes into the game and go back to what made it a success in the first place, that being real-world tanks from many nations fighting it out on the battlefield."
Alfredo Ramirez said, "Well said, man. Why not copy PC? I mean, who asked for Mercenaries?"
Crazy Nickel said, "Well put, Retro. It's something that this vid has over 140 likes, and the latest premium tank announcement vid, the Boulder, has over 140 dislikes. Really disappointed. What has happened to this game?"
Riddick went balls deep and said, "Couldn't agree more, Retro. The Frankentanks is not the direction we want to see the game take, and neither is the Commando mode."
Andy Wilkinson says, "I think it was a bad move to wholly re-identify the game as World of Tank Mercenaries. The contracts are unachievable for most regular players and designed to drain the gold that we've invested in, encouraging players to skip stages. Look carefully at the final stage and the cost is 21,300 gold for the sharpshooter contract. Ridiculous. And I frankly feel that the game I've enjoyed and invested my time and money in over the years is slipping away at the hands of a bunch of people who have little understanding of who their player base was, and what the players value in the game. But I'll keep tanking."
Craig Schmidt said, "Very elegantly put. Your viewpoint reflect my thoughts almost to a T. I believe you probably expressed how most of us feel. Well said. Thanks."
Patrick Cronin said, "Well said. I will not stop playing, but I will like to see the game get stronger and return to its roots."
Meadow Buttercup came up smelling of roses. "I pretty much agree with everything you said there, Retro. It's fairly obvious that Mercenaries were brought in as a way for Wargaming to make money. They seem to be pushing these at the expense of the more historical tanks. As I have said previously, I don't mind them, but they should definitely have their own mode and be cheaper for people to buy if they don't want to have the time or inclination to earn them. I am now on my 12th mercenary tank. I really love the missions, the ops, the challenges, etc. However, although I have them, I don't play them much. I do wonder if Wargaming would like to apply this earn by criteria to the other tech tree lines. I hope not. Could that be their agenda? Perhaps they think Mercenaries is the way forward and are not bothered if they alienate the current player base, many of whom love the historical tanks, especially us older players, and there are plenty of us. I have only been playing just over 2 years and it's really changed in a short time. It must be much more pronounced for people who have been playing since day one. It's a great game. Jump in a tank and drive around shooting at other tanks with hopefully a bit of strategy thrown in. I have seen clips of Armoured Warfare and War Thunder and they don't appeal to me. Too many bits and bobs on the screen. Come on, Wargaming, please listen to the players."
Barnaby Bourbon said, "Well said. I left after Mercs. Makes you wonder, doesn't it? Why have a survey about Commander mode? Why not have a survey about what people actually want? This game needs a graphic update and terrain looks like PS3. I play other games, then come back to this and it looks old. I also don't like the way they do this pick one of the available answers questionnaires. Then the graphics get updated. I'll come back to this game. Note to Wargaming, it's not only children that play on consoles, some adults do as well."
Alan Riggs agreed. "Thank you, Retro, for perfectly presenting my current feelings about the game without negativity. I love this game. I'm not going to stop playing it, but I wish they would stop this current wave of silliness. Please share this with Wargaming for all our sakes. Let this game be great again.
Rob's headache banged on with, I still enjoy the game, took the summer off, and since coming back my outlook to the game has changed. I no longer chase the marks of excellence, care about my win rate, I'm just doing what I can and having fun. If the team sucks, or I do, oh well, next game can only be better, and if not, who really cares? Nobody. It's only a game. I'll be playing until they turn the lights out. And hopefully watching your great vids. You're becoming a dying breed. Less and less YouTubers every week.
Gene Kelly waltzed in and said, excellent Retro. Perfect explanation in the comments section. If Wargaming would only begin listening to its customers and player base, however, they seem to want to do what they please and shove the changes down our throats like children taking cold medicine. I agree that the game was once great, however I feel it has lost its way with introduction of non-historic tanks. Great job, Retro.
Paul said, totally agree with your comments, comrade. I must say I've noticed your vids taking a certain direction lately, and I can understand why. I still play, but usually after an hour I've had enough, where at one time it was a full night's entertainment. Shame, really.
Gimpy D said, well said, RJ. I couldn't agree more. I'm finding it hard to get motivated to play the game since it's rapidly getting ridiculous with the Franken-tanks and OP premiums, and I'm finding myself drawn to War Thunder and Armoured Warfare for the realism. Excellent channel, buddy. Keep it up.
Spencer Badger said, the funny part for me isn't just that they tried the Merc tanks and they are unpopular. The funny thing is that they were so confident about Merc tanks that they changed the name of their game to World of Tanks Mercenaries. It would seem that they're committed to dedicating a lot of their future to these tanks and dedicating a lot of resources towards them. Well-run companies don't make these kind of blunders. They have been driving away players as if it's their goal. The game experience has become more and more frustrating.
Jeff Dave said, spot on, Retro. I quite like the Merc tank as an occasional distraction myself, but can see many other areas that Wargaming should be putting their efforts into to make the game a better experience for players. I still play the game a lot and hope it recovers, but I can't ignore the reducing numbers in the battle queue.
And as Falk said, thanks for the video, Retro. Wargaming needs to focus on the core game with more historical tanks in the tech trees, better tactics, better graphics, and not more tanks that look like Ninja Turtles. I really hope that Wargaming realise this before it's too late. I still enjoy the game and I will continue to play. Please don't give up.
David Wielden said, Retro, the one word, it's got to be the battle cry, bollocks. But I do agree with your sentiments.
Oscar Budak, what a great name, said, I think Franken Vehicles is a lazy attempt to utilise existing 3 models rather than creating new tech trees. After getting Stubbs, which was an awful tank even before the nerf, I decided not to follow other contracts. Command mode and other gimmicks are just distractions. I am still enjoying the game, but I don't like the direction they are heading. Ravener 124 said, not really surprised when Wargaming continue down their path and ignore the community wishes. It's not hard to gauge the community wishes, and it's the same thing over and over. Where is the stuff from the PC? Why did we get Mercenaries? And finally, KG16 said, well, Retro, long time no comment. Sorry about that. Indeed, where have you been, sir? I found Commander mode a bit boring, but have been really enjoying the mercenary contracts. Makes you focus on playing certain tanks at a time. In terms of mirroring the PC version, this is along the same lines as the personal missions. Don't think the crews are ridiculous. It's great getting a commander with 2 skills to start. Like you, the Tusk contract was a stretch too far for me, but I'm enjoying working on the sharpshooter at tier 9. The player base seems to be getting smaller, but I see a good deal of Merc tanks out there, which says to me they can't be that hated. Keep up the great vids. Well, I hope you enjoyed seeing what other people thought about my comments and about the game in general. I thank you to all of those who really went out to leave some really detailed messages. I thank you for your positivity and your constructive attitude towards the game. This really could have been a video which could have invoked so much saltiness And, well, you guys that follow my channel know what the channel's about, and you're not that kind of people either. So I salute you, and I thank you for that. And let's see what happens. Keep safe, keep tanking, and I'll see you soon.